everyone, Deborah Lynn here in the studio. I hope you're all doing well. We're going to have fun with alcohol ink today. And if you've never painted with it, you're missing out. This is a lot of fun. Now, this is not going to be the typical blow it with a blow dryer, blow it with a little air blower. We're not going to do that. We are going to use actual paintbrushes. Okay, and you're going to get really cool effects, okay, by using an actual paintbrush instead of this. Now, I also have another video out. There's two other alcohol ink videos on my channel, so please check those out if you haven't checked them out already. This is a ton of fun, and you know what? To get a set of alcohol inks is really inexpensive. I think in the United States you can get like a pack of them for like about 26 bucks, and then some isopropyl. So for under 30, well, then you got to get some polypropylene paper, which is called Yupo paper. But you can get huge sheets of this. This is a half a sheet. This is 20 by 26. I've cut it in half, and so I could fit it into filming. But when it comes to doing these alcohol ink paintings, I love to go big, okay? Because they turn out really, really cool. Very semi-abstract kind of flowers. It's very impressionistic. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to find flowers, and it's letting the alcohol inks do their thing, and we're going to go in and do our thing. So we're going to work one-on-one together, and let me get this set up a little bit better here, and we're going to have a ton of fun, and I'm going to show you how I go about doing it. And I'm going to use 91% isopropyl alcohol. If you go lower than 91%, it's more diluted. It's got more water in it, and it doesn't dry as quick. And you want it high, so you want 91 to up to 99. Okay, so that's what you want to get, and get a couple containers. You'll have a dirty container, and you don't need to put much in there, just a little bit, because you're gonna probably change it out. And another one. Okay, so one's your clean, one's your dirty. And get yourself an array of paintbrushes. I like to use the round paintbrushes. You do you, okay? Whatever you like to paint with, that's what you need to paint with. Because we all have our specific paintbrushes we like. What I like might not necessarily be what you like to paint with. Now, what we're gonna do here is I'm just gonna grab one of the brushes, and I'm gonna grab some paint here. This one is by Ranger. This one's called Monsoon. I'm just gonna get a little bit of Monsoon down. Okay, work very intuitively. I just throw it down, and now I'm just gonna kind of loosen up this Monsoon. This is gonna be kind of my background, because we want to create some kind of atmosphere, right? And we can always add more later. And I'm going to go ahead and just flick some isopropyl here for texture. Okay. Again, it gives me the texture I want. It's also bringing some light back in, because it's separating all those pigments, and you're getting back down to not quite the white of the paper. You'll want to retain some of the white of the paper. You don't want to completely cover everything. It's hard, okay? But it can be done if you kind of keep that in the forefront of your mind. Don't cover everything. Just by this little bit of play, we've created, it looks like a little flower here. So I can already start seeing stuff coming into play. I'm going to see that, and I want to see that. It helps encourage me to build on it. Like here, I could do a big flower. Here's like a center of a flower. and then I could build off big petals from that. It's all gonna change, but the further you go along in the process, the more you'll be able to keep some of it. So now let's just put some boysenberry down. Boysenberry is very, very pink. So I'm just gonna put just a couple boysenberry, and then I can always add more. So I'm kind of going in with my brush and hitting some of those areas ever so slightly, just kind of dancing around the paper. Again, this is the time to kind of play, and we're not really forming much of anything. We're just trying to get blobs down, shapes down, and then we're going to build from those. I hope that's making sense. And get some more boysenberry. Okay, we need more. Okay, now I think we want to just get just a little bit of green down, rainforest green. I don't know what this looks like. I guess let's hope for the best. Okay, it has a little bit of a teal kind of color to it. And how you put your paintbrush down, let's say we go like this, this mark is gonna keep growing and spreading out. So you might put that down like that. It's not gonna stay like that. It's gonna continue to grow, and it's doing its own thing while you're doing your thing. Okay, so now I've got some green down. Loosening it up, letting it flow a little bit. And let's see, I'm looking in my mixtures here of what I've got. Indigo. Okay. Let's see what happens with indigo now. Okay. Not quite sure what's going on here. Just trying to incorporate that back into the painting. I think what I'm going to do here is do some flicking. Okay, loosen that up. I'm going to do some of that right up here. And some sepia. I'm not seeing anything really forming yet. I'm gonna let it run. And I can press in some lace there. Press in some lace just for some texture. Do that over here just for texture and interest in it. It may not stay, it may continue to grow and change, but I like what I'm seeing. Now, okay, I'm going to switch over to voiceover. Got a lot going on in the house. There's a lot of commotion going on with Ken coughing because he's sick, and the cat meowing, and phone calls, and all kinds of stuff going on. So we're going to do a switch over here. I'm going to continue to build up those flowers there in that upper right quarter, and the left hand side is going to get completely wiped out because it is total chaos, and I'm going to have to rebuild a good portion of this painting, and I'm going to show you how I do that, but I'm not going to torture you with watching every bit of this. So I'm going to do a lot of stop starts through this, and we'll get through it as quickly as possible. So you can kind of get the idea of what I'm talking about as far as correcting things, and then we'll get back on to completing this painting. So again, we're going to do some stop starts here. So let's get started. Okay, the bottom part of this painting, this whole area is just a hot mess. And I tried to work with it. It's just not working. So what I did was I just actually literally just dumped some of that clear, clean isopropyl alcohol right onto the paper, and just grabbing a paper towel that is getting saturated with that isopropyl, and I'm breaking up all that pigment, and I'm basically just wiping it away. It's that easy. It's that easy. You don't have to throw the paper away when you got a mistake. Now, you could get a piece of paper that is wall to wall or corner to corner. It's full of pigment and you've stained the entire thing and there's absolutely no retained white of paper. You might have to toss it away. But because you always want to hold on and retain some of that pure white of that paper, like you see up at the top and over to at the right. The left has got a tiny little section of white there, but for the most part, it's pretty much a lot of it is lost. But by going in and flicking in and making cells of the isopropyl alcohol, that is whatever I've wiped away, what's remaining, the stained stuff that's at the bottom is actually being activated by the isopropyl and breaking it all up, and it's making all those pretty little like cell like clusters. It's actually makes it a really pretty background to start from and rebuild. So that's what's happening here. I'm going to be rebuilding. I'm just removing the stuff I don't like, and as you can see there's a lot of wipe marks, but then you go in and you just flick it with the isopropyl. It's going to separate even more. It's going to bring the light back in and you'll be able to rebuild. So sometimes you just need to knock out a section of the painting that you don't like. And this is a great way to do it, okay? So just, it's really helpful to watch this. I wanted to make sure that you guys saw this because this is an actual really good learning exercise right here is how do I work through this issue? Because you're going to be faced with it because alcohol inks has a way of getting away from you. And you're going to have to chase it and try to fix it. Now we'll move on to the next section. Okay, now that I've got rid of all the chaos, I'm going to start building flowers. Now I'm going to have still another struggle moment, and I'll tell you what happens. If you work like I do with squirting the pigment down like this, sometimes it can get away from you and you might put too much down, which was the case for me. That bottom one at the right was okay. That one and the other one, the centers are just, you can see just how thick and heavy that pigment is. The one on the bottom right is a little bit more translucent, but the top left one is very, very heavy with pigment. And I know that I need to work on those. I think I did a little bit of an overkill on pigment there. So I will have to figure that all out and to show you how I go about doing that in a little bit. I'm just shaking in some dirty pigment here. I think there's a lot of purple that kind of went and splattered down. I think it's time for me to clean my isopropyl. I hope I do. Looks like it's getting pretty dirty. And I have a smaller brush now. And I'm going to work on the top here. Now I want to do like a tall stalk, like a flower stalk. You know, I'm not exactly what it is that I'm creating. Maybe it's some kind of hollyhock or something. But I'm just going to go in and I'm just kind of putting some highlights in. So I have a dark value, a medium value, and then a light value. And the flowers are not looking horrible as they sit and marinate in the isopropyl, they start to kind of look kind of pretty, but I definitely have to work with them somewhat because they are very, in person, the centers are very, very dark with purple. And I don't like one color for a center. Like I would never do a daisy or a sunflower with a black center. Okay, because although it might look like black from far away, it's not. It's anything but. Just like a blackbird. If you look at a blackbird up close, it's not black. It's got blues and teals and purples, and different colors are in the bird that make up all the colors together that kind of make a black kind of color. Same thing with the center. I don't want to just see a purple center. So I do drop in just a little bit of the sepia into the center, which is just more pigment on top, but I am going to work with those centers. I am going to be lifting some of that color and working with all that. So I put it in, I'm going to let it marinate, okay? Because that's what you got to do with alcohol ink. You just have to roll with it. Now here I'm just making a small little cone flower there. And I'm going to do something similar down here. It looks a little wonky with that stem over to the far right of it. All of that will be corrected eventually. So the messy middle is kind of still there, but it's slowly coming together. You'll have to let me know what you think of the completed painting when it's done. What I do need to work on with the completed painting that I wasn't able to do prior to taking photographs, and after, what happened was the upper left-hand corner ended up being too dark, and I need to just go in and just put in some highlights that'll take me minutes, but I couldn't do it because the house is so dark because we have thunderstorms going on and the house is just looks like it's nighttime during the day. So I'll put it off until probably tomorrow to fix all that. But I do need to put some highlights into that. Here I'm putting some stalks in. And I'm doing something that I always like doing. And that for whatever reason, I love running my brush through pigments. I love breaking up pigments. I like running my brush through pigments. I don't know why I do, but I do. And right here you're seeing I'm picking up some of that sepia. It was a little bit too strong. I'll have to fix the cone on the top of that flower. So I'm just wiping away a few things and then continuing on. And you might be wondering, why did you do that? Because if it doesn't feel right, do it, okay? Break it up and redo it. And that's what's going to happen. Now, I'm feeling like this flower, I'm not really overjoyed by it. So I figured, I think what I need to do is build something in front of it. And that's what I'm going to do here. I'm putting some paper towel down, picking up a bunch of the pigment, lifting that by pressing down with that paper towel into that Yupo paper. It is actually, you probably can't see it, but there's a small imprint from the paper towel that is embedded into the pigment. So that adds some interest. If it shows up in the end is to be seen, but it's still interesting. Now, I'm going in with some indigo, and I'm just sprinkling it in and making like stalks. Okay, these are like flower stalks, hollyhocks, whatever they are. Okay, and I'm doing the same over there to balance it out. So I have some way up at the top, And then I have some on the left and on the right. And just thinking about composition and balance and color balance, all of that. And as I let it sit there and marinate, those little spots that I just shook down are going to spread more and more and more and more, okay? Until they kind of paint themselves. All I need to do is just go in and do what I'm doing now, is just add some finishing little brushwork here and there, and that will also spread and move around. So the two combined do their dance together. And I'm going to put a little stem, another little stem, and it feels more like a flower now to me. You can almost see I'm trying to think, what am I going to do? What do I do next? What do I do? Now there's me dragging putting my brush in the isopropyl and then dragging it outward, and it is creating some petals for a cone flower there. I have to reposition that stem. It looks a little weird. Right here, I'm going to lighten this all up. I'm going to get this all wet with isopropyl and lift this. It's just too dark. It's too saturated with purple there. Now I'm going to let it sit there and marinate and do its thing and move on to another section while it's dissipating and moving the pigments around and doing its thing. I'm finding out I need clean alcohol here. It does definitely makes a difference. Otherwise, things really do feel like they get kind of muddy when you're painting. Now this flower, this section also changes. I end up doing those really dark blue stalks because I tried to put in like this great big huge flower here, because there's that one at the bottom that's kind of big, and I thought another big one, but it just didn't feel right. So that also gets removed. So there's a lot of push-pull in this video, where I'm putting stuff in and taking stuff out. I think I'm putting some paper down because I'm going to do some splashing, and I don't want it to get everywhere all over that cone flower that I have down. So I'm just doing a little bit, even though it might go through the paper a little bit, at least it's protecting it somewhat. That's pretty. That ended up looking really pretty. I mean, it's not horrible, that like purple daisy like flower up at the upper left, but when I was in the moment and when I was working, I ended up just not feeling it, and I just changed it, and I wanted to just add a bit more drama. So that's what's going to happen here. I'm going to get silly with this, and then I'm going to end up just changing it. And there I'm putting the stem in. And working on the tops of the cone flowers, building that up just a bit. That just needs to be reworked. I kind of lost my flowers on the far right as the paint dissipated. So I have to kind of build that back up also. So as you can see, painting with acrylic, with alcohol inks is very oh my, I can't say the word. Temperamental. I can't say the word. It's very difficult to work with it at times. And trust me, I have moments of pure frustration with this painting, but I just kept plowing through. And I'm thinking, can I get this flower to work here? And you're gonna see, I end up just saying enough, and then I change it, because the center was feeling very weird too to me. It just, for whatever reason, it just wasn't quite working. Just adding some more of that dark color. It's a dark purple color. Again, I'm not quite sure what the name of it is. Man, those are getting long. That's probably why I'm like, this is not working. I'm getting really exaggerated with these, that bloom. It's kind of fun, but the center is it's just weird. There's something really weird about it. And that's why I'm like, I gotta let this thing go. What am I gonna do? That's what I'm thinking right now in my head. It's like, this is not working.
controlling that sepia that's there so it doesn't spread all over. Looks like one of those pinwheels that if you blow on it, it spins. When you were a kid, you used to run around and the thing would spin 90 miles an hour as you're running. Or you stick it out the window of the car and it would spin, spin, spin really super fast. Do you guys remember those? I think they're called pinwheels. I think that's what I painted. Oh my gosh. Please don't grade me on this. Okay. Yeah, I'm wondering, what do I do with There it goes. I'm like, I gotta get rid of this. I'm wiping it away. God, this painting is... The only thing that has survived through this entire painting are those two little flowers. Everything else has been like redone. We'll get there. We're almost done. And I have to do some subtle highlights in that area to complete it. I photographed it before it was completed, but I'll probably do that in the next few days when I have time to go back in and fix that a little bit. But for the most part, it really doesn't need much. It's already got the signature on it. It just needs a couple highlights, and it's ready to be then sprayed with UV protectant. So yes, you definitely have to do that with alcohol ink art. You have to do several, okay? And I'm just getting rid of that weird green color that I don't like. And so you do, I think I get, what do I get? Do I get some kind, I think it's a Liquitex UV protectant or it's golden, one or the other. I think it's Liquitex. And I end up spraying that all over it. I think it's in a matte. It's not a shiny. I think it's more matte. And I spray that over there maybe about 4 times. And then if you do hang this behind glass, you probably have to treat it like a watercolor, matte glass. You definitely want to make sure that you use UV protectant glass also. So anything and everything that you can to protect it from fading, because again, when we use pigments that are dye-based, they can fade. Now, I have used a lot of spray ink in the past, and the paintings that I did not treat have lightened up. But the ones that I did spray with UV protectant are going strong and hanging on a wall. So just know, see that stalk on the left? It's very dark. It's really pretty, but it does need just some highlights in it, and that's what I have to do yet. So it doesn't need a whole lot. It just needs just a little bit of highlight. Now I'm working on this flower here. He's kind of facing, he's kind of turned away from the other ones. He's looking in an opposite direction, which I think is kind of cool. And like I said, I'm going to bring some of that dark, I'm going to sprinkle in some of that dark blue into the bottom area to balance things out. So you have to assess all that as you're going too, and check the composition. Is everything flowing? Does everything feel balanced? Is there enough light? Did I choke off the painting? Did I bring enough light back into the painting? As you can see, it was really chaotic. It was really dark for a while. I took it all out and I brought it back to life. So you can do the same. Here I'm going in with just a little bit of the sepia and just drawing in just a few little stems, just to add just a little bit of detail. Not a whole lot, just ever so slightly, just a few things. And now I'm just going to go in and just do a little bit of line work for interest. Kind of leads the eye around. Those little lines can be very beneficial to directing the eye to where you want it to go. And we're getting closer and closer to the finish line here. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a little chaotic in the middle, but I hope you guys learned that even somebody that's more seasoned as me as an artist, we can still go through all those same things that you do to get to our final what do I want to say? Our final, it's not a destination, but to the final results that we want to see. It just takes time. It takes patience. You'll have frustration at times. Just keep persevering, and you can do it. It's a ton of fun. And if you do a larger sheet, there's more freedom. The minute you just do a tiny little sheet of Yupo paper, it's like night and day. It's night and day. It's not as fun on a tiny piece of paper. But if you've got a big piece of paper, like I said, this was a full sheet. This is a half a sheet. I bought a full sheet. I don't know where I got it. I think I got it at Blick maybe. And I did full sheets. I bought a bunch of them. And they're just different weights that you can get. The heavier ones, of course, are nicer. They're more expensive, but they're nicer. So as you get better and better with maybe your alcohol ink, then maybe invest in those heavier weight papers. But this has been a joy, even though it's been frustrating at times. But to see the end results, I think is so pretty. Ken, says Deb, Ken, he likes all my work, but he's like, this is really, really nice. I said, I really need to do a lot more of these and get them in some galleries here. And he's like, yes. So that was nice to hear that he thinks I need to get them into some galleries. You'll have to let me know if you think they're gallery worthy or if I still need more work. Like I said, I have another alcohol ink one that's flowers. Please check it out. It turned out really super pretty. And while I'm doing that video, I show you another one that I painted that is my absolutely favorite. It's got big red flowers in it, and it's really pretty. And I've done a few. I've got a stack of them, but I need to do a lot more of them. And now that I have a new container of isopropyl alcohol, I need to do more. And I have a stack of Yupo paper, so I have no excuse. I just need to do it. Okay, you guys. Well, we're getting closer to the end of the video. I want to say thank you so much for joining me. If you would like to come over to Instagram, I can be found at Deborah Lynn Rosenbach Art. Okay, I think there's like a Deborah Lynn Rosenbach artist. That one's no good. You want just the art. Deborah Lynn Rosenbach Art. If you go to Instagram, you can follow me. I'm doing all kinds of things. 1 minute I'm doing collage, the next minute I'm doing oils. So you'll see all that happening. I post everything usually over on Instagram. I do have a Facebook group if you want to join some of our challenges that we have right now. Everybody's just working in journals right now, trying to learn to work in a journal because I'm so bad at working in a journal. So I'm trying to wrap my brain around spending time in journal time, and I'm struggling with it. And everybody else is also working with their journals. And there's other challenges that'll come along and we'll do in the group. But for the most part, everybody, kind of hangs out, gets to know each other. We're all kind of like just a nice little community of artists that kind of have a place to hang out. Okay, you guys, stay safe, stay well, and God bless. We'll see you again soon. Bye for now.